Alright, kia ora YouTube. So a few of you guys were curious to see a little bit of my writing process, and so I thought I'd try something a bit different today. I have this draft that I recorded and wrote on livestream. So for anyone that's curious, I write a lot of my drafts and ideas on livestream, on Twitch, on TikTok. You can head to the link in the caption to check those out if you want to watch me do it live. I'm going to start live streaming here on YouTube too. But I've got this draft here, draft 34, that I wrote on livestream in drop A tuning, and I'm curious to see what it sounds like drop C sharp, because that's a more familiar tuning to Alien Weaponry sound. So I thought while I re-recorded in drop C, we can go through it together and I'll show you a little bit into my writing process. So let's check it out. So this is what the original drop A riff, main riff, sounded like, just so that you have a point of reference. I'm relatively new to the whole like music production, music recording game. It's stuff that I've had to pick up and learn since joining Alien Weaponry, so like I'm still relatively fresh to all of this, but basically I like to try to keep it simple. So let's run all my tones and plugins first for also a point of reference. So I've got Mixwave's Gojira, so Mario's MIDI drum kit, awesome drum kit. For bass, I'm running Dark Glass Ultra from Neural DSP, and on the guitars, on this specific one, I sort of swap between Archetype Gojira and Archetype Nolly. So for this specific song, I'm using Archetype Nolly, and this is my current tone setup for my Alien Weaponry GATS tone. So this is kind of how I like to record. I like to record both left and right tracks at once to get the scratch take, I suppose. And then I'll go over it a couple times, left and right individually, until I've got a take that I'm happy with. The riff is like this. So for anyone that knows, you know, Trivium is one of my biggest influences, and you can hear it a lot in the riffs I write, because I love those middlecore, I think you call it, a middlecore riff. I call it the low melody low, the high low high, whatever you want to call it, where you have a... right, so you're chugging that low string and playing the melody on a higher string. In all sorts of heavy metal, middlecore songs from all time, you know, I'm sure you're all familiar with it. Anyway, I am a sucker for those riffs. I just think they're so cool. They both carry rhythm and melody so beautifully. So we can hear that a lot in this here riff. Because these are drafts, this is not a final product for anything. I try not to spend too much time refining it, you know, because I could spend hours and hours and hours refining these music, take it to the band, and they'd be like, "Now we hate the song." If anyone's curious why I chop and change and I'll just copy and paste most of these takes, it's because it's a draft. I call them the skeleton. The skeleton only needs to be the structure, you know. I'm not trying to put all the muscles and the tendons and the organs in there, and then we can develop it further with the band if they so wish. I try to keep it relatively simple for the sake of time convenience, and that's how I can get through writing. This is draft 34 out of 51 drafts that I've written in the past year. Half the reason I can work so efficiently is because I don't spend too much time fussing about the little details. But you still want it to be strong enough, or at least convey the message that you would like the piece of music to convey in the stage that it is now. You know, you don't want it to be so bare bones that it's just going to sound bad. Because my initial drafts when I started a year ago were terrible. They were terrible, you know, so even if the song was all right, they just sounded so bad because of the way I'd recorded it, and it was so rough, and I didn't know how to gain stage or anything like this. I didn't know how to record left and right. I just recorded two mono tracks. You got to find that balance. This is in the context of me too, where I'm writing for another band. You know, this isn't my own project. I am writing on behalf of a pre-established band. So that changes how I approach my writing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that throughout this series. I always kind of work, so if you can see here on screen, at the very top of the screen, we've got the breakdown of the sections, okay? Main riff, verse, chorus, main riff, verse, chorus, bridge, breakdown, build up, breakdown, chorus, main riff slash outro. For the most part, when I write music, again, because I'm keeping it simple, I'm just trying to work on the basic structures, I tend to follow a pretty stock standard heavy metal and even more specific Alien Weaponry song structure. So that tends to go main riff, verse, chorus, main riff out of the chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, slash breakdown, slash maybe guitar solo, like that section of the song. Chorus again, even a verse. Sometimes Alien Weaponry like to do a third verse, chorus, and then outro again with the main riff. And so for the most part, when I'm writing music, I will just copy and paste that structure when I get a new idea. And then as I go, I'll kind of, you know, shuffle the deck a little bit. Sometimes I go, actually, I think the chorus might be cooler here, or the bridge maybe, or maybe we'll put a pre-chorus in, and you can kind of pick and mix as you go there. But I always start off with a pretty standard structure because it helps fuel the process. When you go, oh, this is my main riff, all right, I can just copy and paste it here, here, and here, right? So you've already got 3 sections of the song done already. Now for this song, I wanted the verse to change the feeling. And this is something that I personally like to do. Alien Weaponry songs tend to stay a little bit more rhythmically consistent. So if we think Kai Tangata, right? And it basically does that riff for the first like 2 minutes. Now they change it rhythmically using the drums. So that's one way to do it. I tend to like to change the drums up and the riff. You start off with something and then boom, you're into something completely different again, and then you come back to the same emotion from earlier. And now to get into the verse, it sounds a little bit like this. I call this drum beat, and I've always called it this, the girly pop drum beat. It's a very, very, very common heavy metal drum beat, but I just love the bounce of it. And for me, it's one of the quickest ways to change the rhythmic emotion of a section. You know, really long, and all of a sudden, really bouncy. So, you know, lots of people think you have to nail each recording every single time, you know, to have it absolutely perfect. Now, of course, for the final product, if you are recording the full-on studio recording, then yeah, you know, you should probably strive to get it as good as you can. But at this stage, man, all you need is one good take. So if you saw there, I recorded that same rhythm, and it's the same rhythm for the 4 bars, for both left and right. And I just found the best of the 4, cut it, and copied and pasted it 4 more times, and it works perfectly fine. It's all about being efficient, particularly when you've got deadlines to make. So the chorus, we're dealing with a big, open, melodic, 3-part harmony, potentially Alien Weaponry chorus. So the chords that I wrote down for this specific section were in a drop tuning, and Lewis loves to do this with his guitar chords. So this is something that I just absorbed and picked up from watching him play guitar and the songs that they've already written. So if you've got your classic drop bar chord, power chord, Lewis likes to add those, what is that? Is it an add 9? Maybe it is an add 9. Is that what you call it? And then the more evil sounding one where you add that. So when I'm writing these big open choruses, we're looking at why did I pick those chords? Well, if you remember at the beginning of the video, I mentioned main riff, verse, the way I like to do things, completely change up the rhythm or the feel or the emotion, and then come back to the emotion evoked at the beginning of the song. So in the beginning riff, we did this. And in the chorus, I'm doing this. So I'm using those same notes again and just changing where they're placed. In the beginning riff, it's the second part of the chord progression. And we go down there, and in the chorus we're going starting in the same place, changing the second, and then returning back to that same one on the third. Right? So the emotion evoked is a similar emotion while being its own thing, carries that emotion forward again, but it's different, so it doesn't get boring, in theory. Now that we've done the chorus, it's copy and paste. Main riff, verse again, right there, and then the chorus again. So this is something I've had to learn, is it's very easy to get bored of it when you are listening to it without vocals. Now, as the guitarist, you know, as not the vocalist and not the singer, I only ever really listen to the music. I always want to fill up every single space with more guitar, right? So it's learning to actually be like, no, hold up. There is a singer and there will be a vocal melody, so this cannot overpower the potential for singing. And this is what I've had to learn, because I hear these, the guitarist in me hears these open, spacious chorus chords and goes, oh my God, it sounds empty. And all I want to do is this. You know, it's like, nah, hold up, bro. Coming out of the second chorus, I had this, which is probably my personal favorite riff of the song, and it sounds like this. Right? So still evokes a different emotion, yet it's familiar because it's using that same little that we've used throughout the whole song. I go one of two ways for breakdowns: circle pit breakdown or crab stance breakdown. This one here, I kind of tease you with fast, and then we actually just go boom, 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 get really heavy with it. I'll be curious to hear your guys' opinions when I compare the drop A to the drop C sharp. This is the section that would make me want to keep it drop A. The rest of the song is what would make me want to keep it drop C sharp. There'll be an opportunity at the end for you guys to hear that and compare it and tell me what you think. Right, we're going to very, very quickly track the bass. And that is the bass tracked, just like that. Alright everybody, so this is our fully fledged Draft 34, now in drop A and drop C sharp. I'm going to take a snippet from each of the sections and I'm going to play them back to back so that you guys can compare drop A to drop C sharp. Thank you for tuning in. If you've made it this far, make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. It's free in it, and you can come and tune in to another one of these writing sessions, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you prefer? Drop A, drop C sharp? In the comments below. Here we go.